What's up, everybody? I'm home. It's my day off. I'm so happy to be home. It's been a long trek. And basically I did back-to-back out-of-state runs, which I don't normally do. I pretty much don't do it all. So I did California to Colorado and back, and California to Washington and back. And so nice to be home for a little bit. I get about a day and a half off, and then we are heading to Texas. I wanted to throw out the first video for you guys. I'm gonna start a 4-part series on Hotshot versus Big Rig. Pros and cons to both types of equipment. And I'm gonna throw out numbers to you guys. Please keep in mind, I am in California. The numbers I throw out are general numbers. I am not claiming that every single tire is gonna cost X amount of dollars for a big rig, and every single Hotshot tire is gonna cost X amount of dollars, and it's gonna last you X amount of miles. Everybody runs differently, everybody runs different lanes, and everybody drives differently, and these numbers are gonna be general numbers. So don't, quote me. Natalie said my tire is supposed to last me 72,124.5 miles, and it didn't. Go get her. No. This is all my opinion. This is all food for thought. This is not Natalie telling you what to do with your future business or with your future plans. This is food for thought, and this is all in light of pretty much my Patreon page. I have had recently quite a few people sign up to my Patreon page. If you guys don't know about it, it's the easiest way to get a hold of me right now. My life is full. My business is growing. My chickens are loose right now. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. My life is really full right now. So if you want to get a hold of me, patreon.com/hotshotadventures at $5 a month. You can message me all day long, and I'll do my best to get right back to you. I have been asked recently, I've had several people sign up recently, ask me a lot of questions, express how they're on the fence about not starting their transportation company, but trying to decide which type of equipment to purchase for their future transportation company, whether to go Hotshot, whether to go Big Rig, what are the pros, what are the cons, what is my opinion, what do I see? So in light of that, as well as, I'm asked on the YouTube channel, I get comments all the time. Natalie, are you gonna go Big Rig? Natalie, you should get a step deck. Natalie, you get a 53-foot flatbed, you can haul X amount of weight instead of, whatever you're hauling right now. Thank you guys for your suggestions. Thank you. If you're on the fence and you're looking to start a transportation company, you're on the fence, you're wondering if you should do Hotshot or if you should do Big Rig, well, guess what? That is pretty much what I was wondering when I first started. I was on the fence in the beginning. I went and got my CDL. I got it no restrictions, so I took my air brakes test. I did all of that. I learned everything so that I could have the flexibility, and I could have the option, and I could have the opportunity, if I so chose, to ever upgrade my equipment. I could do it swiftly just by changing out my equipment, not having to stop my transportation company, my non-CDL transportation company, and stop it and go to school, CDL school, for whatever, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 10 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever it takes, right? So I did that in the beginning because I knew once I started running that it would be fairly difficult for me to stop the transportation business and close the doors to my direct customers and say, hey, time out. I gotta go to school real quick. So I'm not gonna run loads for you right now. I'm quite happy with where my company is, where my business is, the growth rate that it's growing at, as well as the comfort level of the Hotshot rig that I have right now. Overall, I'm very happy with the revenue that that the business generates, that the rig generates for the company, and I stand behind my decision. There are a ton of pros and cons to Hotshot, and there are a ton of pros and cons to Big Rig. No choice is right or wrong. It's what's going to best fit your personality, your style of running, what you think your style of running potentially is, what type of personality you have, and how much work you may or may not want to do. If you don't want to do hardly any physical work, I'm telling you right now, open deck is not for you, okay? If you don't mind open deck, strapping down from one point to another point and that's it, then probably a 48 or a 53-foot flatbed is it. You don't want to run a partial game like a Hotshot tends to run, because I'm moving pieces around, I'm backing them up, I'm pushing them forward, I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm checking loads, I go to a lot of different shippers, a lot of different receivers. I haul a lot more loads than your typical open deck, big rig owner operator is going to run, because I'm running a partial game. That's what I run. That's what I like to run. That's how I run my rig, and that's what works for me and for my customers right now. A con to big rig. What about that clutch knee? You're gonna either learn to float your gears, which is fairly simple and fine, but if you use a big rig for 20 years, your knee's going to start to give out. Your hand is going to get arthritic from constantly running the shifter, right? Your left shoulder from holding the steering wheel, and the right is constantly shifting, right? Okay, so physically, there are some things on our body that may wear down before our CDL is ready to be retired. I know a lot of big rig drivers that have ridden and driven big rig for 20 years, whatever years, a long time. And then they were like, Natalie, you know what? My body just can't take that, but I can drive a Hotshot rig all day, all night. It doesn't matter. Like, it's so simple. It's so easy. And they're still generating revenue. So they're quite happy with that in their older years. I think that that's great. So that's something to think about. A pro to big rig. I tell you what, if there's a 53-foot dry van parked in the middle of the road with his flashers on, all the cars around him stop and slow down and go, okay, what's going on here? If I throw my flashers on and get in the middle lane, I get a lot less respect from other drivers. And that is because I am not so big. I don't look so big. They just they think they can skirt around us, even more so than they think they can skirt around a big rig. And that is my experience. That is how I feel about the situation. I have a ton of fun running my Hotshot rig. I do. I have to have fun, or else this is just way too much work and it would be way too boring. For me to run a 53-foot dry van, I knew that was simply out of the question. I have no interest. I have absolutely no interest. While they do make good money, okay? Probably more money than me. They work a heck of a lot less. And for me, for my type of personality, for how I like to work, I knew that a 53-foot dry van or any type of enclosed trailer was probably not the route that I wanted to take. I have a lot of fun. I don't just go from business to business. In a Hotshot rig, I get to go from business to private, from auction to private, from auction to auction, from port to private, from private to port. I get to have a lot of fun. Private to private, that tractor deal, earlier this week in Washington, that was so much fun. I may not get so many of those cool opportunities if I had a different type of rig. And for me, for what I like to do, for my personality, Hotshot is a lot of fun. I get to meet a lot of people. I'm not just, looking at the same boring shipping and receiving door. I meet a lot of cool people on different journeys, on different experiences, buying up different types of equipment and moving and doing all kinds of fun stuff. And I get to kind of be a small part of their story, and they get to kind of be a small part of my story. And it's a little bit more personal, I think, that way. And for me, that fits my personality. That works for me. I enjoy it. I know for a fact, you're not going to go to a shipping and receiving office and get a tip. Maybe if, it was like a juice place or a candy bar place, they might give you something that's damaged. That's cool. Think about it. Think long and hard about it. Are you going to get hotels like I do? Are you going to be able to sleep in the back seat of a pickup or the passenger seat of a pickup truck for extended periods of time? Are you going to just try and run local and maybe generate less revenue, yes, work a little bit harder, but you're able to be home every night so you don't have to sleep in the truck? Do you want to run cross country? Do you really not like to eat out so much, so you need a refrigerator and you want maybe a little stove and a little microwave and that type of stuff? Just go buy a big rig. You have your CDL, you have already gained knowledge and experience in the industry, and you're ready to become your own owner operator, then maybe you just go big rig. It is more comfortable. I'm not going to lie to you. Of course it's more comfortable. Try and sleep in the back seat of a Civic or, the back seat of a camper. I mean, look at the differences. Of course it's more comfortable. But there are other, pros to that. So you guys will have to judge what's more important. My comfort level for extended periods of time because I plan on being away from home for extended periods of time, or do I just want to run short circles around the house so it's not such a huge deal for me to eat out a little bit more or maybe have a few more sandwiches that week or whatever the case. The experiences are different. That's my point. The experiences are different and there's no right or wrong. And in the next 3 videos, I'm going to go over a lot of information, and I really hope that it helps you guys make your best judgment call for your future business. And thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 of this series.